My female friend texted me, "Split this $500 bill or I'm calling the police." After those lobster orders, I told her to go ahead. When the officers saw her pass 3 arrests for pulling this same stunt at restaurants, they brought a different kind of handcuffs. 28-year-old Ethan, met Sabrina about 8 months ago during a networking mixer. She was magnetic, seemed accomplished, always dressed like she stepped out of a magazine. We clicked instantly, talking about tech and new ventures. We began meeting maybe once a month, coffee here, drinks there. No romance, just what I thought was a solid friendship. In hindsight, the red flags were there. She always picked pricey venues and then conveniently forgot her wallet, or her card would conveniently fail. I'd pay, thinking that's what friends did. She'd promised to handle the next one, never happened. Last Tuesday, completely out of the blue, I hadn't heard from her in 6 weeks, she messages, "Hey stranger, miss you. Dinner tonight? There's a new seafood spot I'm dying to try." I replied that I couldn't really afford eating out this week, I was saving up to repair my car. "Come on. My treat. I just closed a big deal," she said. "Let me celebrate with my favorite person." Her paying? That was new. Against my better instincts, I agreed. The place was upscale, valet outside, linen napkins, menus without prices kind of place. She was already seated, halfway through a bottle of wine that probably cost more than my entire grocery budget. "Order whatever you want," she said, gesturing at me with the menu. "This is my celebration." And she went all out. 2 lobsters, oysters, some fish with a name I couldn't pronounce. More wine. Starters I didn't even touch. She kept going, telling the waiter to just keep bringing food. I ordered a pasta and water. Honestly, watching her go crazy with the orders made me uneasy. But she said she was treating, right? Then the bill arrived. I didn't catch the total at first, because she grabbed it immediately. I watched her expression change entirely. She stared at the amount for a full half-minute, then pushed it over to me. $523.47. "We're splitting this," she declared. Not asked, declared. I actually laughed. "You must be kidding. I'm not covering all of this. That's ridiculous. You ordered all of it. You said this was your treat." "I just had pasta." She got louder. A lot louder. "Are you seriously going to make me pay for everything? What kind of man are you? The kind you told this was your celebration dinner that you were paying for." That's when she pulled out her phone. "Split this bill right now, or I'm calling the police. I'll tell them you brought me here and now you're refusing to pay." Everyone was staring. Even the waiter looked like he wanted to disappear. But there was something in her eyes. This wasn't fear, this was strategy. She'd pulled this before. "Call them," I said. She actually looked stunned. "I'm serious." "So am I, call them." And she did. She actually did. She put it on speaker, probably assuming it would scare me. She told them I refused to pay and was threatening her. Said she felt unsafe. The dispatcher said someone would come over. While we waited, I pulled out my phone and saved our entire text exchange. Her inviting me. Her saying it was her treat. Everything. I also noticed something interesting. She had been tagged in multiple restaurant pics on Instagram recently. Always at fancy places. Always with different people. The photos would disappear after a day or two, but Google Cache lives forever. The police arrived. 2 officers, looking extremely irritated to be handling this. Sabrina instantly started crying. "He invited me here. He promised he'd pay. Now he's trying to force me to cover it all." I showed them my messages. She invited me. She said it was her treat. I had a $32 pasta. She ordered everything else. The older officer glanced at the bill. Then at her. Then at me. Ma'am, did you order these items? We both ate. Sir, what did you have? The linguine. And water. The cop turned back toward her. Ma'am, I'll need to see some identification. The color drained from her face instantly. I could tell something was very wrong. She slowly handed over her ID. The older officer stepped away to make a phone call. When he returned about 5 minutes later, his entire expression had changed. Ma'am, you're being taken into custody. What? For what? You have 3 outstanding warrants for fraud by deception. All from restaurants within a short distance of here. My jaw completely dropped. 3 warrants? Apparently Sabrina had run this exact scam over and over again. Order expensive meals. Stick someone else with the bill. Threaten to call the police when they refused. 3 different victims had filed official complaints. She'd been dodging every court date for months. As they cuffed her, she screamed at me. This is all your fault. You could have just paid. It's just money. You destroyed my life over a dinner bill. No, I said calmly. You destroyed your own life over lobster. After they took her outside, the restaurant manager came over. Turns out they'd been watching her since she walked in. Her photo was already in their internal system from a warning sent by another luxury restaurant. They had planned to refuse her service but wanted to see how things unfolded once the bill arrived. They ended up comping my pasta. Update 1, these last 48 hours have been absolutely insane. First off, Sabrina made bail the very next morning. How do I know? Because she showed up outside my apartment building at 6 a.m., yelling in the parking lot. You owe me $2,000. That's what woke me up. I looked out my window and there she was, in designer heels, screaming at my building. That's what I had to pay for bail. You're paying me back. I started recording immediately. My neighbor was the first to come out and told her to be quiet or he'd call the police. She spun on him. Mind your own business. Lady, it's 6 in the morning. Everything is my business right now. She kept going for about 10 more minutes until the property manager showed up. Deb, total legend, told her to leave the premises or she'd be trespassed. Sabrina claimed she was conducting legitimate business. Yelling in our parking lot at dawn isn't legitimate anything, Deb replied. Leave. Now. After she finally left, I filed a harassment report. The same older cop from the restaurant took it. She's something else, he said. You might want to consider getting a restraining order. But it didn't stop there. Later that afternoon, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. It was her attorney. Mr. Ethan, I represent Sabrina Smith. She's ready to dismiss all civil claims against you for emotional harm and defamation, if you agree to pay $5,000. I actually laughed. What claims? What defamation? You humiliated her publicly and caused her wrongful arrest. Wrongful? She has 3 warrants. Those are separate matters. This concerns Tuesday night's incident. Tell your client I'll happily see her in court, and just so you know, I'm recording this conversation. He hung up immediately. And then came social media. She made a public Instagram post, featuring a screenshot from the restaurant's security camera, calling me a predator who tricks women into dinner and refuses to pay. Claimed I was part of some elaborate scam targeting successful women. The comments section exploded. Half her followers were demanding my head. The other half were people she'd scammed before, sharing their own stories. One guy posted images proving she pulled the same stunt on him at a steakhouse 6 months ago. Another woman said Sabrina borrowed $3,000 for a medical emergency and never paid it back. The post stayed up about 4 hours before Instagram removed it for harassment. But here's the best part. Remember those dining photos I mentioned? I started researching further. Found a dozen people she had eaten out with at expensive spots over the last year. I reached out to 5 of them through Instagram. All 5 had nearly identical stories. Huge bill, sudden expectation to split, threats to call cops or create a scene. 2 actually paid out of embarrassment. One guy paid $400 even though he only had a salad. We all agreed to meet next week to compare experiences. Update 2, that meetup happened yesterday. And wow, 7 people showed up. 7. All of them with Sabrina horror stories. There was Brett who got hit for a $400 sushi tab. Megan who covered a $300 wine bar bill. Diego who paid $600 at a steakhouse when Sabrina claimed her ex took all her cards. 2 more who had been threatened with police. And then Tanya, her story topped them all. Tanya had actually lived with Sabrina as her roommate. For 3 long months. Sabrina had replied to Tanya's room for rent ad. Everything seemed perfect at first. The first month's rent and deposit cleared. Then Sabrina's check started bouncing. When Tanya attempted to evict her, Sabrina claimed tenant rights and even threatened a lawsuit for discrimination. Tanya had to file a formal eviction, which dragged on for 3 months. During that time, Sabrina stole packages, somehow got Tanya's credit card information, and even tried to steal her identity. She opened 3 credit cards in my name, Tanya said. I'm still dealing with the fraud paperwork. We gathered everything, screen captures, receipts, messages, every threat. Between just the 7 of us in that meeting group, the total amount she'd conned? Over $4,000. And that was only from our circle. Brett had already filed charges after our dinner situation went viral on local Facebook pages. Megan was filing her report that same week. Everyone wanted to know how to move forward legally. Then Diego dropped a bombshell. I hired a private investigator after she scammed me. You'll never believe what he found. Sabrina wasn't even her real name. Her legal name was Bethany. She had a criminal record going back 6 years. Fraud, theft, identity scams, writing bad checks. She'd pulled similar schemes across 3 different states. The whole high-powered businesswoman image? Total fabrication. She didn't have a real job. This was her job. She even had open warrants in 2 other states. We decided to work together. Everyone who hadn't filed a case yet would do so. And we'd all show up to her court date in person. There's strength in numbers. But Sabrina Bethany wasn't finished targeting me personally. That same morning, I woke up to 67 emails, all from different email accounts but clearly from her. Threats, insults, fake legal notices, even a badly photoshopped invoice claiming I owed emotional damages. My personal favorite was an email pretending to be from the FBI telling me I was under investigation for interstate harassment. The FBI? Over lobster? I forwarded all of it to the detective on her case. Then during lunch, my boss called me into his office. He'd gotten a phone call from someone claiming to be a detective saying I was under investigation for assault and theft. Thankfully, my boss isn't an idiot. He asked for a badge number and a callback contact. The caller hung up. We called the real police ourselves. It was her, obviously. She'd violated bail terms by contacting me at all. Another warrant went out for her arrest. A few hours later, the detective called me. They'd located her at a downtown hotel. She had checked in under a fake name. They found 4 different IDs on her, and a printed photo of me with red XS drawn all over it. They also found a notebook filled with plans to destroy 6 other people, all members of our group. This time she was held without bail. Update 3, court was yesterday. And it was absolutely insane. First thing she did? Fired her lawyer. She announced she'd be representing herself. She entered wearing what looked like a Halloween costume of a TV courtroom attorney, black suit, fake glasses, carrying a briefcase that, according to the bailiff, was filled with printed YouTube videos about legal procedures. She declared she was the true victim, claiming the 7 of us formed a conspiracy ring targeting successful women. She literally used the phrase organized persecution with a straight face. The judge calmly asked about her 3 existing warrants. Misunderstandings, Your Honor. Restaurants miscommunicated over who ordered what. 3 separate times? I'm a very confusing person, Your Honor. The judge visibly rolled his eyes. She then tried to present her own evidence. It was a folder of Instagram selfies of her at fancy dinners, which she said proved she could afford all those meals and therefore wouldn't scam anyone. The prosecutor pointed out those were taken just before every incident of theft. Then she tried to cross-examine me. Didn't you invite me to dinner? No. You invited me. And I have the messages. Those messages are fake. They're sent from your number. You hacked me. So I hacked your phone to send messages to myself inviting me to dinner? Yes. The judge had to call a recess because the court reporter was laughing too hard to continue. And it got even wilder. During the break, she approached Megan in the hallway. Megan immediately started recording. Sabrina Bethany offered her $50 to drop the case. $50. For a $300 tab. When Megan refused, Sabrina said, "Fine, then I'll tell them about your drug addiction." Megan doesn't have one, she's a pediatric nurse who's regularly tested. What addiction? The one I'll invent if you don't back off. She actually said that. On video. Inside a courthouse. With multiple witnesses nearby. They added witness tampering to her charges. Once court resumed, the public defender, assigned despite her refusing one, convinced her to take a plea deal. 18 months in county jail. 3 years probation. Full restitution to all victims. Must register as a fraud offender, which apparently is a real registry in our state. She reluctantly accepted. But not before screaming that all of us had destroyed her life and that she'd come after us when she got out. The judge calmly added an extra 6 months for threatening us in open court. As we were leaving, the prosecutor pulled us aside. They'd been building a larger case on her for nearly 2 years. They knew of at least 40 victims. Our testimony finished it. And after she serves time in our state, she'll be extradited because of those out-of-state warrants. Final update, I honestly thought this nightmare was over. She was behind bars. I had a restraining order. Life should have gone back to normal. Nope. Last week, my mother called me in a panic. Someone messaged her on Facebook claiming I was in jail for assault and needed $5,000 bail. The message came from an account, pretending to be my aunt. My mom, being smarter than most scammers expect, called me immediately. Are you in jail? No mom, I'm at work. Someone messaged saying you needed bail money. Clearly another scam. Turns out Sabrina has a cousin, Jasmine. And Jasmine decided to avenge her cousin by trying to scam my family. Her logic, since I ruined Sabrina's life, I owed them that money. She found my family members through my social media, now private, thankfully, made fake accounts, and started messaging them. My sister got a message saying I was in the hospital. My dad got a message that I'd been kidnapped. My uncle got one saying I needed emergency surgery. Luckily my family is smart and contacted me directly. But Jasmine kept going. She found where I work, thanks LinkedIn, left nasty reviews online calling me a predator. She used my contact details to sign me up for hundreds of spam newsletters. Even tried to get my utilities shut off by calling and pretending to be me. Didn't work. I have passwords and pins for that reason. I filed another police report. The detective from Sabrina's case literally laughed when I said the name Jasmine. We know her. She's got quite the record. They arrested her 2 days later. She'd been doing all of it from her work computer, at a law firm, where she was a receptionist. Well, used to be a receptionist. They fired her instantly. She was charged with harassment, attempted fraud, and cyberstalking. She's now facing 6 months to a year in jail. I even attended her arraignment. She tried saying she was preserving her family's honor. The judge replied, "Your cousin is convicted of massive fraud." She said, "That doesn't matter. Family is family." The judge said, "Family is going to jail, that's what family is." Iconic. Now here's the final twist that still has me stunned. Remember that notebook they found when they rearrested Sabrina? The revenge plan one? Well, they later searched the hotel room even more thoroughly. They found another notebook, the real one. Not the one full of threats, but her actual records. She had chronicled every con she'd run for 6 years. Every name, place, amount. Like a bookkeeping ledger from hell. Total value? $273,000. That's just from restaurant scams and borrowed money, not including identity theft, credit card fraud, or the apartment scams. She had literally turned being awful into a full-time criminal career. And honestly, she might have kept getting away with it if she hadn't demanded I pay for her lobster. Now the case is federal because of the cross-state fraud. She's facing up to 20 years when you add all the charges across 3 states. All of this, because she refused to pay for her own food. The detective told me they're actually using this in official training now, how social media posts and seafood exposed a 6-year fraud network is going to be used in conference presentations. I'm still hearing from random people she scammed over the years, thanking me for finally stopping her. One guy from another state said she conned him out of $2,000 in a fake investment plan. Another woman lost $5,000 to a fake charity Sabrina invented. She was on the run. The restaurant even sent me a gift card in appreciation. I've already eaten there 3 times this month. I stay away from the lobster, though. As for me, I've learned a very real lesson. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. All the red flags I ignored because we're friends, never again. And if someone invites you to dinner and then tries to force you to pay for 2 lobsters and oysters, call their bluff. They might just have 3 warrants. Edit, since everyone keeps asking, yes, I have all the documentation. No, I'm not sharing case numbers or personal details for obvious reasons. And to the person who messaged saying they think they recognize Sabrina Bethany, please check your credit report. Seriously.